recognition of and honoring those Veterans Day. We're going to have a reading. Commander,
The chaplain will offer a prayer.
O God of hosts, we bow our heads in the thankfulness for the victories thou hast granted us and to us and those peoples who have united with us to stamp out evils of aggression, intolerance, and greed. We beseech thee to bring the blessings of understanding to the families and friends in this and other lands of those who have given their lives that we may be free. Grant, O God, that those closest to the fallen may mingle in the pain of their losses with the ennobling life of sacrifice for civilization, sacrifice for a better world for this and other generations yet unborn. Grant to us, O God, the courage so to live with family and nations around the world, that the end of strife will be the beginning of our enduring peace. Grant us patience in planning our fellow men and women a world in which nations may resolve their differences by peaceful means. Touch thou the souls of people in every land with the enduring light of wisdom, so they may form a brotherhood which will strive to further the arts of peace under laws that they specify thy love. Grant us now thy continued blessings upon unity and strength that makes us victories possible in war, that we may win greater victories of peace. Amen.
On this day, Veterans Day, we are commemorating the service of veterans of all wars. We remember how men and women set aside their civilian pursuits to serve the nation's cause, defending the freedom of mankind and preserving our precious American heritage. We believe our strength on the field of battle, on the supply lines which nursed our armed might, lay in the justice of our cause against the forces of evil. We believe our determination made us better warriors because we fought with our minds and our hearts as well as our bodies. We recognize service to our country, and her cause does not end with the termination of military service. We continue our endeavors in behalf of an honorable world peace with a feeling of profound gratitude to God and to the men and women who gave their lives as part of the cause of this noblest of causes. Out of blood and sweat we learn of purpose, sacrifice, tolerance, bravery, and discipline. These are solid foundation stones upon which our great nation is built in our continuing quest for an honorable world peace. We must cultivate these fabulous virtues.
The wagon of war involves more than just the combatants who fought to the death on the field of battle. The fighting force began at the fireside and then the home lines. The repercussions of war terribly, brutally have chilled the heart and dimmed the hopes and dreams of many a loved one left behind on the home front. While the horrors of the battlefield may have been our experiences, we have lived with the terrible loneliness created to answer an aggressive challenge. In waging war, we have moved forward with a unity of purpose which made us strong, forgiven pettiness, egotism, and pride. Our hearts beat in tune with those in other nations fighting for freedom and the dignity and opportunity of mankind. In our constant quest for an honorable world peace, there is need of unity, a purpose, if we truly are to move forward a brighter tomorrow.
If there be glory in war, it is the almost incredible spirit which it engenders. Those who offer their lives sacrifice their all with magnificent abandon. Heroism becomes contagious, yet too, in warfare, greed and brutality are epidemic. Too often it is these latter which persist in the peace that follows. Let us strive to see the same spirit of self-sacrifice is cultivated in peace as has been exhibited in war. It behooves us to rear new standards of success, to inspire youth in peace as youth was inspired in war. Public honor must be given where public honor is due, not to the manipulator of the market, a seeker after profit, power, or position, but rather let us honor the heroes of science who alleviate human suffering and carry to greater heights the standards of civilization. Let us honor those who in public service seek not how much they may secure from the nation, but how much they can give. Let us honor those who devote their lives to that education, which will lead our children on to live and laugh and learn and love, as we have only dreamed of doing. Let us honor those veterans who carry into ordinary affairs of life a noble idealism and sincere capacity for self-devotion. Let us translate the devotion of war into a devotion of peace. Let us will to live as well as die for our country.
The herds of war fall alike upon those who wear the same uniform, no matter how they may differ in race, creed, or culture. Those who fight together suffer together to achieve a common aim. In the similarity of battle dress, there is a common denominator, the common purpose, the sharing of danger and suffering, which brings in times of war a tolerance which adds strength to the cause. As we put aside the brown and blue and green fabrics that made us one people on the battlefields, we can hold in our minds that tolerance we have achieved. In tolerance there is progress toward a better and a happier world.
Courage is one of the virtues born of war. The courage of individuals in the face of danger and the courage of nations to protect the weak and punish the aggressor. There is bravery to be shown in peace as well. May we recapture the courage which turned the wilderness into cities that bound men together under government. We can turn slums into comfortable homes, turn uncertainty into certainty. We can reach new heights of civilization and opportunity for the men and women of this nation if we have the courage to expect and work for a better way of life. There can be romance in this challenge also. The bravery that fights for political, social, economic, and spiritual gains may be more difficult to practice, may be unsung when achieved, but it is all the more worth striving for.
War has taught us a lesson of obedience to command. The game is more than the player, and the ship is more than the crew. There is a greater discipline we must not pursue if we are to preserve this virtue of obedience in our pledge for our honorable peace. That is obedience to the laws we ourselves make, the voluntary discipline of citizenship. Under our system of government, we may change the laws by majority rule. We may persuade our neighbors to new theories and new courses. We may advocate in free elections the choice of veterans our plans. As good citizens, we allow the choice of the majority, whether that choice be the individuals or not. This is the virtue of discipline which may be ours in peace. This is a lesson we must learn at home, in school, on the playing fields, and organizations, in the community, and the nation. It is a lesson of voluntary obedience to the decisions of the majority. We must not be unmindful either of the conclusions of other peoples with whom we are joined in the quest of a honorable world peace. This is a higher order of discipline.
In time of peace, we can use the ennobling virtues of war and put behind us its ugliness and suffering. In peace, we shall go forward today together to scale new heights of achievement and unity of purpose, in sacrifice for common good, in tolerance for those of different faiths and creeds, in bravery to fight for social and economic great gains, and in discipline of good citizenship. We shall move forward in sight of God as a strong nation in a peaceful world.
The reading of the Governor's Proclamation. Whereas the founding of our nation, tens of millions of Americans have served in the armed forces to defend our nation in time of war and to protect our freedom in times of peace. And whereas a century ago, 4.7 million Americans fought in sacrifice during World War I. And whereas Wyoming provided more men per capita for the armed services than any other state in the Union during the Great War, whereas 111,516 Americans gave their lives in the war, and more than 200,000 were wounded. And whereas the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918 has been commemorated as Armistice Day, and whereas in 1954 Armistice Day was renamed to Veterans Day to commemorate the service and sacrifice of all veterans, whereas nothing we say or do can fully express the depths of our gratitude for the historic service and sacrifice of World War I veterans, or the brave men and women of our armed forces. And whereas, as a reminder of the price we pay for the freedom we cherish, we have an obligation to honor and love and service each and every veteran. Therefore, I, Matthew H. Meade, Governor of the State of Wyoming, do hereby proclaim November 11, 2018 as Veterans Day and World War I Remembrance Day in Wyoming, and encourage residents to display the American flag and to recognize and celebrate the service of all veterans who have served our state and actually used to toll the bells in remembrance of those who have served in World War I at 11 a.m. November 11th, 2018. And witness hereunto set my hand and cause the executive seal of this Governor of Wyoming to be affixed this 2nd day of November 2018.